like to thank my sponsor, CBH, my family, Nuffield, and my GFP group for this opportunity. I've learnt so much on this journey, and I'm so honoured to be a part of this incredible group. And congratulations to the 2025 scholars as well. I'm so excited for you all. As Claire mentioned, my name is Beck, and I'm a farmer from Minginoo. It's located 400 k's north of Perth in Western Australia. I'm a 2023 scholar, and my topic is about the interaction between energy and agriculture. And I've specifically explored what happens when a solar, wind, oil or gas company approaches you to produce energy off your farm. I moved home to the farm 7 years ago, and it coincided with an oil and gas company approaching us with plans to put rigs on some of our paddocks. Sitting across the table from a multi-billion-dollar diversified resource company, we were unsure of our rights, the potential repercussions, where to get valuable information, and what this all meant. I immediately went on a Google rabbit hole deep diving session and soon discovered the information was out there, but it was quite often sponsored by these billion-dollar companies, so it was skewed to their advantage. One thing I also quickly discovered, it wasn't so much these companies were asking us if they could explore gas on our farm, they were telling me. As gas is a natural resource and owned by the state, we legally had no rights to object. This moment led me to embark on a Nuffield to find strategies and solutions to the situations I and many others find ourselves facing. But why should you care? I get it, you're sitting there. If you're a sheep farmer, you like the sheep topics. If you're a grain farmer, you like the grain topics. And seeing the words contract and gas, I am sure not many of you thought this is the one I'm going to pick up my notebook for. But this does apply to you. It might not be oil and gas, but it could be mining, it could be wind, it could be solar, it could be power lines, or it could be roads. And I would like you to have more information than I did when I first got into this. Over the last 2 years, I've visited 12 countries around the world, each with their own approach to energy negotiations. My goal was to identify which countries were excelling and which were facing challenges in this complex area. I learnt that the majority of the countries, farmers were being taken advantage of in the gas exploration space. Knowing that gas is a slightly niche topic and wanting my research to be a benefit to more people, I decided to look into renewables as well. Whilst there are definitely a lot of elements and ideas that I took home to put in my own contracts, which are still ongoing, I realised how individualised these negotiations are, not only around the world, but state by state in Australia. So this is my farm, but this is my farm now. There are still beautiful fields of canola and thousands of hectares of wheat, but I also have 2 gas rigs taking up 5 hectares each and going down 5 kilometres. They sit atop one of the largest supplies of gas in Australian history. We've also had seismic across our farm, and so seismic is the thumper trucks. They send sound waves down and are picked up by receiver points. So it's basically a CAT scan of the subsurface. This isn't only affecting my farm. I have another gas rig going in 6 weeks' time, actually, but we have 5 different gas companies in my town, and it's become a hotspot for activity. There's also a large number of farmers with wind turbines and solar negotiations. As farmers, you don't have as many rights as you think with subsoil exploration. A lot of the natural resources are owned by the state, so there can be limited agency over your decisions. Renewables are on the topsoil. It means you have more rights and they can't be forced upon you. The last few years have been a steep learning curve in the field of energy negotiations. Whilst my Nuffield report will have a little bit more of an extensive list of areas to be aware of, there are a few I'd like to highlight today. So the first is document everything. Farmers are so good at doing handshake deals, but you're dealing with these companies for 15 to 30 years, and you need to be advocating for the sustainability of your farm from the first meeting. And this also involves documenting your time. And with time, dispel the notion that your time is equivalent to a generic hourly wage. Your role in these negotiations extends beyond the conventional valuation of labour. I was told once that there are $40 an hour jobs and $4,000 an hour jobs, and farmers are very, very good at trying to only do the $40 an hour jobs. Sitting at these tables, it might not seem as important as going out and spraying a crop on time, but you can protect your farm a lot more if you're at that table. CPI everything, or add a percentage to your contracts to counteract inflation. Many of these contracts, most of these contracts, come without CPI. But the value of $100 today is very different to the value of $100 in 15 years' time. So make sure all your contracts have CPI. And get the right team behind you, such as lawyers and accountants, to make sure these costs are covered by the energy companies. The exact wording in contracts can directly affect the amount of tax you pay, especially if you're going for things like private tax rulings. You want to have words like permanent devaluation instead of words like inconvenience. And when reviewing contracts, ensure that the company listed is the major corporation, not just an offshoot subsidiary. Large companies often create subsidiaries to manage direct projects, and these smaller entities are more easily dissolved if the exploration doesn't go to plan. To protect yourself, you might also consider requesting a parent company guarantee to ensure you're dealing with the main entity. There are so many other components that need to be given weight in these negotiations, but I hope if you find yourself in a similar situation, I can have one or two of the answers. Thank you.